Hello there, everybody. My name is Adam Clery, joined as ever by the Anton Lebec of the Red Turtleneck, Adam Nicholas for What Culture Wrestling, here with your hashtag Good Afternoons. And coming up for you this afternoon, we have...
AEW's Jon Moxley was lying to WWE fans in his promos. Can you believe that?
I can't, actually. Becky Lynch has talked about main eventing WrestleMania again.
WWE's Finn Balor has rejoined the Bullet Club.
That's quite shocking, but not as shocking as WWE ruining their own draft.
True.
Done this in the wrong order, haven't we?
Yep, we have.
We'll just keep going with that. So first, coming up for you, first of all, we're meant to do it the other way around because then it feeds in nicely to me doing the thing, but then it's just pulling back the curtain for you.
Professionalism's for the morning.
Yeah, we'll get
this is the afternoon
this is the afternoon news. Jon Moxley has lost his IWGP United States Championship without actually getting beaten for it in a match.
Where's he lost it, Adam?
Well, last place he had it is where I tend to find these things. It's obviously New Japan Pro Wrestling's King of Pro Wrestling going on at the moment. He was scheduled to defend that title against Juice Robinson. Now, if you've been watching the actual news, not the wrestling news, although I don't know why you would have noticed there is some rather... I don't want to downplay this, I'm not going to say inclement weather. There is a genuinely awful typhoon raging its way across the coast of Japan at the minute, and that has prepared to a lot of travel plans, especially travel plans coming from Europe and America, which means Jon Moxley has been unable to attend that event and thus unable to defend his title. Now, given that there's going to be another large gap between the next time he's going to be able to be back there over the AEW commitments he's got, they have made the decision to instead strip him of this title, and instead they replaced Jon Moxley with Lance Archer in the match. Him and Juice Robinson faced off for it, and Lance Archer won, making him this third time he's won a belt.
Third time he's won a big belt.
Yeah, his tag team titles, didn't he? Third time he's won a belt. So he's now the new IWGP United States Championship. Of course, Zack Sabre Jr. He was unable to attend as well. Now, I've seen a few people, before we get into whether this is dreadful or not, I've seen a few people saying that, is this not just a big AEW conspiracy because they don't want him getting beat to Juice Robinson? To which, of all people, Dave Meltzer popped up and said, newsflash, unfortunately, AEW, for all their money and power, were not able to manufacture a Category 5 typhoon off the coast of Japan and get these flights cancelled. But hey, good thinking.
If anyone could do it, it's got to be either Tony Khan or Vince McMahon. Yeah. One of those guys is probably capable of that.
Yeah, force of nature, to be sure. It's a shame this, because it was very exciting when he got handed the title, because he obviously straight out with WWE, then immediately put this very exciting New Japan title on him, and for him to lose it in these circumstances is disappointing if you were going to go to that match, but it does obviously give you a very good story to bring him back in with, because he never technically lost that title.
Never lost the belt. I guess it's been a bit frustrating, because he's been so good. He was great in the G1, and everybody was kind of on the the Jon Moxley train. And it was all good. But unfortunately, we've seen a few problems with it in terms of he wasn't able to defend it when New Japan did shows in America, and now we've obviously had the injury to his elbow, which ruled him out of other matches, and this is almost the third thing, which isn't really his fault, a typhoon. There's not a lot he can do about that, but ultimately, they do like the prestige on their belts, and it's not ideal having a belt off TV or away from their product for that long.
I know you say there's not a lot you could do about it. I genuinely think if you offered him the chance, Jon Moxley would fight the typhoon.
He'd travel. He'd certainly try. If you just say, go on, he'd be like, yeah, go on.
I reckon you could punch a typhoon. I could watch that, yeah.
Death
anyway.
Rider to the typhoon.
Yeah, that's that.
Well, sticking with Jon Moxley, he might not be able to turn up for shows, but one thing he tries not to be these days is a liar. And apparently, during his time in WWE, that's exactly how he felt when having to cut his promos for the company. Now, obviously, we saw him do his shoot interview, the Emancipation of Jon Moxley on Chris Jericho's Talk is Jericho podcast earlier this year. Well, he's had a few tidbits, but he's tried to stay away from really going on about stuff to do with WWE since then. But the lid has come back off the jar as he's been talking to the Still Real to Us podcast here, and I've got a few quotes for you regarding his time in WWE and how he feels about the whole thing. So about his time in WWE, he says, I had to do these stupid scripts. I'd have to say stuff like, I'm going to eviscerate your skull at Hell in a Cell. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I know I'm not. I know that there's not going to be any blood. I'm literally lying. I'm lying to the fans. I'm selling this violence. That's just not going to happen. And then he talked about the match that he had with Joey Janela in All Elite Wrestling and said, I told management, you realise just by putting my name with Joey's together, you've created an expectation for insanity. Anything less than balls out would be a disappointment, and I'm not going to be in the business of disappointing fans anymore.
Hey.
Well done, psychic there. But before finishing off on, go on, give us the last quote.
I don't know, just
psychic powers have run out. Before finishing off on one more part and thing, saying, we know what's good and what's not. We don't need writers or producers or anything like that. We know what we are doing. So this is the kind of thing that we've seen, they've been let loose on in AEW, and we've seen it completely turn into absolute gold for not just Dean, I keep calling him Dean Ambrose, not just John Moxley, but Chris Jericho is a better example, another example where his promos have obviously been just completely given to him. We saw the post-match promo he did, which led to Le Champion and a little bit of the bubbly, and then we saw all that promo on All Elite Dynamite, which was just, it was bloody dynamite, to be honest.
We've said it time and time again. Wrestlers tend to understand their characters better than people who aren't having to live and perform as those characters. So we've seen them, when WWE do relax their scripted promos, we get some of the best work we see on television for years and years and years. And the second Moxley gets out of there and he's free to sort of like present himself and act in the way he thinks he should, he becomes the hottest thing in pro wrestling.
It's them being allowed as well to, whatever they say on these promos, being allowed to follow through. And it's a problem we saw with Bray Wyatt. Excellent promo. Undoubtedly, they let him say pretty much what he wants, but what's the point in letting him say that if they're not going to let him follow up on that in a match? You see?
Well, the structural flaw is that you've got script writers and you also have the people who book the matches. Yeah. So they might be writing one thing and it was right, well, because I always go back to the Ambrose versus Rollins, the first one after he turned heel. The way the script writers had written that was one way, and then the bookers wanted it to be really slow and methodical. It just didn't line up. Whereas if you let the wrestlers take the lead on both those things, plot their matches the same way they plot their promos, there's consistency and it's going to make sense.
Give them the bullet points. That seems to be the thing that worked in the past, where you give the writers can give them a rough outline of what they kind of want, but just let them put it in their own voice. We know doing voiceovers, trying to do other people's stuff, it's hard work. You've got to change it around to suit your needs.
And speaking of in their own voice, Becky Lynch has been speaking in her own voice, believe it or not. Obviously she's been talking to IGN ahead of the new WWE 2K game, and they asked her, of course, first woman to main event WrestleMania, first woman to win the main event of WrestleMania. Absolutely. Does she have aspirations of doing that again? And of course,
no.
Nah, that's one and done. That's me out. Why go out on top?
Finish, pal.
What she actually talked about the actual state of the female roster in WWE at present. Obviously, Rousey's gone, Charlotte's moved over to SmackDown. The face of the division is very different to this time last year, and they asked her specifically about doing another Evolution style event. She said, possibly. I mean, we have such a deep well of female talent, and a lot of them aren't being featured very often, and I would like to see them step out more. I've often said that I want everyone to challenge me. I want everyone stepping up to me. I want everyone looking for that top spot, because that's what drives me to do better. But when specifically asked about another women's main event of WrestleMania, she said, if everyone's resting on their laurels and feeling complacent, then we can't get better. I can't main event WrestleMania by myself, and I got a taste for it, and I don't want to give up that spot. I want to main event WrestleMania again and again and again and again. Which is, I mean, that's a fair point. You can't main event WrestleMania by herself. She's kept herself ticking over fairly well since she won that belt. The title reign's been a bit hit and miss. I think a lot of the Lacey Evans stuff was just disappointing. The Sasha stuff felt like they haven't really committed to it, but it's certainly been far more interesting. Meanwhile, the rest of the division as a whole, Bayley's coming back into it now. Sasha's coming back into it now. Charlotte's kind of just kept herself under the radar for the last couple of months. The division doesn't feel anywhere near as hot as it did when Ronda Rousey was in it, which is a shame.
It's interesting that, because I'd say these four are now finally getting a chance, the four horsewomen that is, to really do their thing on all cylinders. Like, we've seen them be on rosters together before, and they haven't quite all been at the same level. Now I feel like they've all come in to their own, they're all doing what they want to be doing. The Bayley heel turn, well, some people might not have enjoyed it. I think that's actually a good thing, and I really enjoyed the look, I really enjoyed the presentation. Hopefully we get to see more of that. I just think it's a call to arms, isn't it? We're waiting for someone. Yes, Charlotte is arguably, for me personally, the best, and at the top of our game.
Oh, God, yeah.
You would watch that match again, but you'd like to see someone else step into the spotlight as well. These four, obviously, here, they're going to get split across the two brands, we presume, after tonight, and we're going to have two on either brand, and hopefully they can help lift the other ones. But you're looking at who could be the one to step in to obviously get themselves to that main event. But at the moment, you'd have to say maybe someone, it would be one of them four who's going to be the one, if any, who would step into the light to go and do the main event, surely.
Right now, you could only really see Shayna Baszler coming up and really messing with that dynamic. But you've got to remember, as so often is the case with people in NXT, we only think that because they've not had their call up yet, and it hasn't really dulled their spot. I mean, imagine if I said Asuka's going to be completely out of the picture by middle of 2019.
Well, you would have believed it, because she's a foreigner, and that's literally what WWE do. They just don't know how to handle them, do they?
Well, Becky Lynch for him.
Well, all right, you know what
I know what you mean.
You know exactly.
The right kind of foreign Becky Lynch, isn't she? To WWE.
WWE, very good save, very good save. Shall we move on before we get ourselves cancelled? Speaking of getting cancelled, that'll do. Finn Balor has been flirting with the line.
Oh, that's not bad.
He's been flirting with the line of getting cancelled.
Speaking of the right kind of foreign.
Hey, there you go. Speaking of Irish, for God's sake, the afternoon news is always a hoot. Finn Balor He has rejoined. No, he hasn't really. I'm only messing with you. But he has been to see his good pal from the Bullet Club over the weekend. His good friend, not so much our good friend, Tama Tonga, who...
No, he's still going.
Still getting around. Can you believe it?
Still
booking him. Unbelievable. But yes, Tama Tonga had a little barbecue over the weekend. Had his pals across from NXT. Had Finn Balor, who we obviously know has recently rejoined NXT. And of course, Kushida, who recently got a bit of an injury on his wrist. All together, used to be in New Japan. Obviously, Tama Tonga's still there. But they had a bit of a reunion because obviously NXT is based in Florida. Tama Tonga lives in Florida. Kushida presumably is in Florida. I hope he's not commuting from bloody Japan. And obviously Finn Balor is free to go wherever the hell he wants at the moment, as long as it's in Florida. So we saw this little tweet fired out by Tama Tonga here, who said, had some friends over for a Sunday barbecue, reminiscing about our good times together in Japan. Surround yourself with good people and keep moving forward. Finn Balor also retweeted a picture and just said, family, which is lovely.
He's so insecure, isn't he? Like, oh, no one will want to hang out with me unless I'm putting a spread on.
Come on.
Hey guys, do you want to hang out? No, Tama, we don't want to hang out. Oh, do a barbecue.
Or even if you go and have his spread and he just tries to big time.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. That's
a whole other kettle of fish. But yes, sadly for anybody who was getting super excited, Finn Balor won't be joining the Bullet Club anytime soon, but he might end up joining the OC one day. You've probably got more chances of that.
Well, if he is joining the OC, no doubt you can read about it on WWE.com before it's officially unveiled on the programming, because that's what they managed to seamless. That's what they managed to do during the draft. Now, a lot of people noticed that while the draft was going on, the website seemed to be updating considerably quicker than the actual show was unveiling a lot of these names. So a few things were getting spoiled ahead of time, and then weirdly a few that had been spoiled then ended up not actually happening, so the website was incorrect. Now this raised a couple of questions. I think the answer was obviously they're just making a complete mess of it, but Uncle Dave at the Wrestling Observer has clarified precisely how they were making such a complete mess of it, and he said thus: the website people were told to put these names up in alphabetical order.
Indeed.
That's what they were told. Somehow, alphabetical order got forgotten and they put the list up as they were, and that's why it ended up the way they did. Now, you may recall that there was a bit of a... SmackDown lost a pick because they picked Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross separately.
Yes.
Now, I remember one of these two was supposed to be... Like they did, one of the picks that ended up going to SmackDown actually went to go on Raw, and when they realised they made a mistake with the website, they hastily cobbled it around, moved the person over to SmackDown, thus they needed to cost SmackDown a pick for something else. So they ended up splitting up Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross.
Who were initially on as one
as a tag team, because all the tag teams, all the tag teams were getting picked as tag teams, so they ended up having to split those up to kind of cost themselves a pick just to make up for the fact that they'd gone up on the website. And how on earth a company that size, that is that well organised, ends up doing that is beyond me.
So this is the thing. That's on the surface, you'd say, all right, it's a mistake, an intern or whoever who's got it on the website has maybe just copied and pasted it, or whoever's done it, right? But the fact that this is such a crucial time for them, like you've got that episode on Fox on Friday, only the second episode, the draft. You need to be on point. And you've already posted a list, literally a full list, top to bottom. I should have clocked it really, because we were doing the podcast on the Thursday for the Friday. Oh no, on the Friday for the Friday. Yeah. And essentially that list, I was like, why would they do a list like this? Because they've basically told everybody where they value them. Not thinking, of course, that's going to be how they come out of the gun, and that's exactly the way they came out. And it's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. The only way it could be topped is if somehow tonight they just stick to it on Raw and just like, we'll just pick them all the exact same way. But what a headache that must have been. Someone was not having a good weekend, I would imagine, after that.
As a man who was working in education prior to coming to What Culture, I just want to stick up for the interns of the world there and say I bet it wasn't even an intern. I bet it was some just lazy, half-arsed, can't be arsed anymore.
That's the thing, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that they would provide that to somebody who was just couldn't be bothered to do it.
I'm going to give the interns of the world the benefit of the doubt. I imagine if you get an internship with WWE, you probably work your bollocks off to get that. That'd be a good gig.
I'm not blaming them. I reckon the message probably got badly translated.
I reckon it's got blamed on an intern.
Yes, that's the point.
It was the kid.
And that's what I'm saying. Someone's like, oh yeah, I've told them to put it on alphabetical order, but he just didn't do it.
And yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. We've got one little thing left, haven't we? Going to show you a little fun clip.
Oh, I thought you were going to get something out there. One little surprise for you. Do you want to show them or just?
Oh, no, take it away.
And action.
She is the SmackDown Women's Champion,
That's a banger. That.
Good.
It's a bit hair metal for me. It's a little bit.
Hey, hair metal.
Hair metal.
Shall I haircut?
And she had a haircut.
Hey.
Yes. Oh, you're stark. Yes, of course. Forgot about that.
You're stark.
I like it, me.
I'm
going to be interested to see how that works on on Raw or SmackDown with the actual
I think
proper
it'll
stage.
still be on our head.
I would imagine so, yes. I meant the light, man, the big light, because that looks at a house show.
The spotlight.
That looks dreadful.
Yeah.
That looks awful. But I reckon it'll look quite nice on SmackDown.
I have a feeling that may just be the presentation, but I don't know, like the power and down noise that it makes sounds awfully familiar to Bray Wyatt's
soundboard, innit? We got one or two.
Just the button, but DJ, you remember that keyboard? That was a great
Helicopter,
keyboard,
yeah.
Great keyboard.
Yeah, well, we've clearly lost our mind, so we'll leave it there. Let us know what you made of all of this in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Where can they get you on Twitter if they want
They
to?
can find me on Twitter at It's Adam Nicholas. Where can they find you, my friend?
Just Adam Clery, Clery. You can get the entire What Culture family at What Culture WWE. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. This has been your hashtag, a good afternoons, and we will see you soon.
Whipping action.
Whoopah!
Whoopah!